Welcome to a Southsider cell, also known as a Sureño. Notice how clean the floors are. A lot of times the homies will put wax on the floors and buff them out, making it look like glass. You got your reading material, everything neat, organized, and folded, clean and swept. Sureños are like a militant group. Therefore, a soldier's cell represents his character, and how you keep your cell reflects on your way of living. What's interesting about these little models is how the artist compressed the life of a convict into this little square box, which is really all your belongings and your integrity, your activity. It's your life, man. It's like boxed up. They just boxed you up.
What's cracking, YouTubers? It's your boy Diablo again. I'm coming at you today, as the clip was saying, about Southsiders and their cells and the maintenance of their cells and how it pertains to us. You know, your cell is a very special place as a convict. It is where you meditate. It is where you think about your family. You know, you ponder on your future, things of that nature. And it is also like a part of you, a very important part of you. I say that because it is an aspect of you where it reflects upon your character. You know, if you live like a biker and your cell is all messy, your bed unmade and shit everywhere on the floor, you know, that's not good, you know, and you know, that can be cause for regulation. You know what I mean? Because the homies are like a militant group. So I've even seen COs training other COs and walking cell by cell, looking in the cells because they were like trying to meet their quota as far as like hitting cells and searching cells. And I remember one time an older CO told this rookie, he said, "You see how neat this cell is right here?" He told him, "This is probably a Sureño cell." He said, "Them guys are like a military group. They are very neat and organized." He said, "They're also a very dangerous group. But a lot of times when I see a cell this clean, I'm not going to hit it." So keeping that in mind, remember, you know what I'm saying, what you do, your actions and how you carry yourself in prison, everybody's watching, including your enemies and even the motherfucking cops. So it brings respect towards you. It brings a good look upon your character as well as your neighborhoods, because in prison you're representing your neighborhood every single day. You know, that might not mean much to some, but to us as gang members, it's everything. So, you know, you're holding the line that your predecessors have put down. You know, their outstanding character, and for your little homies, they're gonna come that way one day. In my case, I never had too many family members. I did, but they moved out of state a long, long time ago. So other gang members became my family and my brothers, you know. So, you know, with that being said, that means a lot to me. Getting back to the cell, a Sureño cell. So, you know, you're gonna uphold that line of cleanliness and keeping your shit G, organized and tight. I remember being a young man of about 20 years old when I arrived at Delano. I had just got let off a lockdown. It's like a 2-week lockdown they keep you in order to, you know, check your C file and just check you all out before they actually house you on the main line, and where you're able to get out to the yard and integrate with other prisoners. So I remember after the first day they put me on the main line. It was a dorm setting. It was not a cell, but nevertheless, this dorm cubicle area is our area nevertheless. But I wanted to go out and hook up with some of them young cats. I was like 20, so I wanted to go see some of the homies that I was with in the LA County fighting their own cases, and now I saw them there. You know, now I can finally interact with them. And I was trying to go out to the yard and chill with the homies and, you know, rap with them brothers and stuff like that. And I remember after chow, when I would try to go to the yard, and an older homie that was my bunkie in his dorm setting, He said, hey, youngster, where you going? I said, I'm going to go outside to the yard to rap with the homies. He said, He said, we got to clean this house up first. He said, you want to be a convict? Well, now you're going to live like one. And, he taught me that rule right off the bat. I can't remember the homie's name. He was an East Sider. So that's part of what I'm talking about. It's part of the Sureño regiment to keep steady and keep on shining. I remember in Victorville, I was a head orderly. And in there, I used to keep my cell waxed. Throw a gang of coat of wax on it and buff it with that machine. And it was like a mirror on top of my floor. Some homies took so much pride in their cell, they would even put lowrider cars and girls and then put the wax coat on top and then buff it out. And it was like so picturesque. They would put art in there. Like it was amazing, man, But being clean, taking care of your cell and all that falls in line with that. It's just part of being a Southsider, it's part of our regiment. Now the example I gave you about the older homie schooling the younger homie and telling me in that sense, giving me a message about we're gonna clean this house up, that's one example. But I've also had cellies that were fanatical about cleaning the cell, you know what I mean? For instance, I went to the hole one time and wound up in the same cell with this other fool from Palmas, a homie, from in Victorville. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you the whole story, but the thing is, when they took us to the shoe, they took me in like around, maybe 3, 4, 5 in the morning, I don't remember, it was at dusk. He didn't come in till a few hours later, like at 8 in the morning, because I'll tell you what happened to him, but when he came in, I was still half asleep because they took me there out of my sleep. So I went right to sleep when I got to the shoe. But he came in like at 8 in the morning and he got mad at me. He said, hey homie, what's up with this cell? Why is it all dirty? How come you haven't cleaned it yet? Have you asked the trustee to give you any cleaning materials? I said, man, it's 8 in the morning, homie. They brought me here at 5. I'm tired. I'm going to go to sleep. I went back to sleep and then we cleaned it. But what's funny about this is, man, that I went to the shoe for no reason. It was like 4 or 5 in the morning, somewhere around that area. They came with flashlights and woke me up out of my cell. Talking about Maldonado? Yeah. Come on, it's time to go to work. I said, work? I used to pay not to go to work. I used to pay the head orderly, and put me down as an orderly, but I didn't work, you know what I mean? But this man, this CO here, he's telling me to come to work in the kitchen. I said, man, I don't work in the kitchen. He said, well, get up and let's go. Let's do count. They're going to do count. And once you get down there after count cleared, you can come back. I'm like, man. So after they wake me up out of my sleep and they're escorting us to the kitchen, because most of those guys were workers, or all of them guys were workers. I think I was the only one that didn't work in there and got put on that count for the out count for the kitchen that day. So, we're walking down this embankment that goes to the kitchen. We get to these metal detectors, and this crazy ass fool Palmas walks through the metal detector, and a female officer, this big fat white girl, CO, she said, let me see your ID, sir. So he gives her the ID, and then she said, what's your name? And he said, my name is whatever name is on that card in your hand. And she said, yeah, what is it? Tell it to me. And he said, lady, you see this face? This is me. That picture on that ID has the same face. That name is my name. So if you want to know my name, just read it, look at it, whatever you want. And she said, yeah, but I'm asking you to tell it to me. And that fool said, look, lady, I just woke up. Let me get in this kitchen, get some coffee going. Once I drink me a shot or two of coffee, if you want to talk, come into the kitchen. We'll talk all you want. And she said, let's go to the lieutenant's office. And he said, let's go. And then she said to me, you too. And I said, me? Why me? And she said, because you laugh and you think it's funny. And I said, man, so here we go to the lieutenant's office. Once we get into the lieutenant's office, she tells a lie. She said, LT, I had to ask this man for his ID 3 times. And that fool just blew up, because I'm telling you, this guy's already a nut. That fool said, "What? Bitch, you gonna lie in front of me now?" And then the LT said, "Cuff up. Cuff up." So they cuffed him up, you know what I mean? They got me, they cuffed me up, and now, you know what I'm saying, we walking towards the shoot, you know. And on the way over there, this fool's cuffed up and we're being taken to the shoot, and he's turning around and yelling all kind of shit at this lady, telling, "You fucking fat white bitch, honky ass hoe, lying motherfucker," and woofing, you know what I'm saying? So the CO that has homeboy by the arm to get him to keep walking, because he's turning around and yelling all this shit, he yanks him. When he yanked him, you know, the homie, you know what I'm saying, when he yanked him, the homie used that force, he just let his body go limp. So he let it like go limp like he's gonna fall. Then he used the cop's own strength to hold him up, and he swung back and hit him in the nose. He busted that motherfucker's nose and they took him down, you know what I'm saying? They carried me to the shoot. So now here it is. It's like 8 in the morning and this fool comes in looking like he been tortured or something. He come in roughed up and stuff, like hair disheveled and just looking like he been fucked up, you know what I mean? And they pummeled him, and I said, "Man, where you been at, man?" But check this out, going back to the cell. The first thing he said is, he said, "Damn, man, look at how dirty the cell is. All that shit on the floor." He said, "How come you ain't cleaned it up yet?" Again, I said, "Man, they brought me here at 5 in the morning. I ain't cleaning nothing. So I said, "Where you been at?" He said, "Man, they had me in the Jesus Christ cell." I'm like, "Jesus Christ." So he said they had him tied up like at 4 points, you know, like stretched out and just feet, arms, and that they were like punching him in his ribs and giving him a, you know, they worked him a little bit. So they whooped him for what he did, you know. And I remember a few days later that CO comes to our cell and he says, "Hey guys, I didn't understand. I didn't know you guys were Southsiders. I don't have no problem with Sureños, and I just want to know if we could squash what happened." And Palmas told him, "Fuck you. Get the fuck away from my cell, punk." You know, and he did. And a few days later, maybe a couple of weeks later, the FBI came and they questioned him and they filed charges on him. They took him back to court. I think he got 5 more years because he had assaulted another CO before, you know, and doing time in the shoe with that crazy motherfucker was something else, man. I'll speak on that another time, man. He was an obsessively clean and far-sighted individual as far as his beliefs and what he's been through in life. Yeah. As a matter of fact, that same CO, he was kind of problematic with the homies. He'd be trying to get at their ladies at visit time and just, he thought he was something, I don't know what he was thinking, but he thought he was more than what he was because he got hurt bad. He got multiple bones broken by the homies down the road. And I'll talk about that another time. So that's my little story about going to the shoe with crazy ass Palmas and the way Southsiders treat their cells. I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I'm Audi 5000, G.
The official adventures of
Diablo.
The official adventures of
Devil.
What is this secret writing?
The official adventures of
Devil.
The official adventures.
What is this secret writing?
Oh, that is Latin. Oh, that.
And we're making that green.
Oh, that is Latin.
Check it out.
Latin.
Exactly.
All right.
17.
We call that gang writing.
What is this secret writing?
That means Santa Monica, fool.
17 minutes from now.
Yeah.
17
Mix master.